The Last Ride, 1988 Boy and Cousin. Lost on Bike Ride, 8 years later, Swamp Find shocks all. Two kids pedal into Louisiana's twilight, their laughter swallowed by the swamp. What took Jake and Ellie that day, and why did the Bayou keep silent? In the summer of 1988, Bayou, Louisiana, is a town stitched together by Cajun roots, where the air hangs heavy with humidity and the scent of crawfish boils. Spanish moss drapes cypress trees like old lace, and cicadas sing a relentless chorus over Terrebonne Parish's sprawling swamps. Jake Landry, 13, a wiry boy with sun-bleached hair and a lopsided grin, pedals his red Schwinn bike down Old Spanish Trail, its NASA sticker faded from years of racing through Bayou backroads. His cousin, Ellie Dubois, 11, matches his pace on her bike with pink streamers, her freckled cheeks flushed with defiance, her braids bouncing as she laughs. The cousins are inseparable, raised like siblings in a community where everyone knows your name and your mama's gumbo recipe. They build forts from driftwood, chase fireflies, and dodge the swamp's hidden dangers, gators, quicksand, and old Cajun tales of the Rougarou, a wolfman who hunts naughty kids. On July 14, 1988, they set out for a bike ride, promising Jake's mom, Marie Landry, to be home by dusk for supper. But as the sun melts into the cypress canopy, their laughter fades, and the Bayou's silence becomes a wound that will scar Bayou for years. Marie Landry, 35, a waitress at Boudreaux's diner with calloused hands and eyes etched with worry, feels a chill when Jake and Ellie miss their 6 p.m. curfew. A single mom since her divorce from Paul Landry, a shrimper with a drinking problem, Marie leans on her sister, Claire Dubois, Ellie's mom, a seamstress with a gentle voice. The sisters raised Jake and Ellie like twins, their homes a block apart, filled with the kids' chatter and muddy sneakers. When dusk turns to dark, Marie and Claire drive the back roads, their truck's headlights cutting through fog, shouting Jake and Ellie's names into the humid void. By 9 p.m., panic sets in, and Marie calls Sheriff Amos Guidry, a 45-year-old Cajun with a Stetson, a gravelly drawl, and a reputation for finding lost hunters. Guidry knows the swamp's treachery, its labyrinthine channels, its gators that strike without sound, its trails that vanish in the muck. He promises Marie, "We'll find 'em," but his gut whispers otherwise. At dawn, Guidry organizes a search, rallying a small army. Deputies, volunteer firemen, airboat captains, and Bayou Cane's tight-knit residents. Airboats roar across the swamp, their propellers slicing the still air, while bloodhounds sniff the banks. The Cajun community turns out in force, fishermen, trappers, church ladies with rosaries, each praying for Jake and Ellie, whose faces are etched in every heart. By noon, a volunteer, Tommy LeBlanc, finds Jake's bike in a ditch off Old Spanish Trail, its chain broken, the NASA sticker glinting under the sun. A mile downstream, Ellie's bike lies in cattails, its pink streamers tangled, as if tossed, in a hurry. No tire tracks, no footprints, no blood, just an eerie emptiness. Ellie's Polaroid camera, a Christmas gift she slung over her shoulder, is missing, along with Jake's green backpack, where he kept his snacks and a pocket knife. Guidry combs the area, finding a child's sneaker, Ellie's size, white with a star patch, stuck in swamp mud, its laces frayed. The sneaker, waterlogged and alone, offers no answers, but its presence gnaws at Guidry's seasoned instincts. The searchers fan out, battling mosquitoes and heat, their boots sinking in black. Water. Mama Estelle, a Cajun elder with silver braids, joins the effort, muttering about the Rougarou, the swamp's mythical beast. "Them kids stirred something dark," she warns, clutching a gris-gris charm. Guidry, a practical man, dismisses the lore but feels the swamp's weight, its silence, its secrets. He interviews Marie and Claire at the diner, where locals sip coffee and whisper theories, gator attack, drowning, or a drifter passing through. Marie, clutching Jake's baseball cap, recalls their routine. They rode to their fort near the swamp, always back by dark. Claire, twisting Ellie's star-shaped bracelet, adds, Ellie loved her camera, took pictures of everything. Guidry notes the fort, a hideout of sticks and tarp, and searches it, finding only a child's drawing, Ellie's, of a gator with "Stay away" scrawled in crayon. The drawing's warning chills him. Was it playful or a cry? Guidry questions Paul Landry, Jake's dad, at his shrimp boat, its deck reeking of fish. Paul, 40, with a sunburned face and bloodshot eyes, admits Jake mentioned a weird guy watching them near the fort days before. Thought he was making it up, Paul grumbles, avoiding Guidry's stare. Paul's feud with Remy Fontenot, a rival shrimper, surfaces. Remy, a burly man with a temper, once threatened Paul over fishing grounds, snarling, "Keep your kid off my turf." Guidry visits Remy at his dock, where airboats bob in the current. Remy, 50, laughs off the feud, his knife flashing as he guts a fish. Paul's a drunk, he says, his alibi solid, shrimping all day with his crew. But Remy's smirk and the gasoline stink of his airboat linger in Guidry's mind. Another suspect emerges, Claude Gator Thibodeau, a recluse who traps muskrat in a shack deep in the bayou. Claude, 50, with a scarred face and a limp from a gator bite, is Bayou Kane's outcast, living off the grid since a 1980 poaching arrest. Kids call him Gator, daring each other to spy on his shack, where pelts hang like grim curtains. Guidry drives to Claude's, the swamp's narrow path barely wide enough for his truck. Claude skinning a nutria, his knife steady, his eyes darting. "Ain't seen no kids," he mutters, gesturing to his airboat. Its gasoline smells sharp. Guidry spots a coil of coarse rope in the boat, knotted tightly, but no evidence links Claude to Jake or Ellie. Locals share rumors. Claude's late-night boat trips, a child's scream in '87 mistaken for a heron, his temper when kids trespassed. Guidry leaves, the swamp's shadows clinging, Claude's gaze burning into his back. The search stretches into August, testing Bayou Kane's spirit. Volunteers slog through thigh-deep water, dodging cottonmouths, chasing false leads. A torn bandana, not Jake's, a bike tire, rusted and old. Marie and Claire pin flyers across town, Jake's grin and Ellie's freckles staring from every storefront. At St. Anne's Church, Father Benoit leads prayers, the congregation's candles, flickering for the lost kids. A tip from Missy Hebert, a gas station clerk, adds a twist. On July 14th, she saw Jake and Ellie buying candy, followed by a black pickup, not Claude's. "It slowed near 'em," Missy says, twisting her apron. Driver looked rough, scarred-like. Guidry checks vehicle records, finding a black pickup registered to Silas Fontenot, Remy's drifter brother, a loner who worked with Claude. Silas, missing since '89, was seen near the swamp in '88, per a barmaid's tip. Guidry's suspicion deepens. Did Silas and Claude cross paths with the kids? Marie shares Jake's diary, found under his bed, its pages filled with doodles and dreams of being an astronaut. A July 10th entry reads, "Saw Gator at the fort. Ellie says he's creepy. Told Dad he laughed." Another, dated July 13th, adds, "Saw him again. He's watching." The him unsettles Guidry. Claude, Silas, or someone else? Paul recalls. A bar fight with Silas who vowed, "You'll pay, Landry." Guidry searches the fort again, finding a buried tin can with a child's whistle, Jake's, engraved JL, and a note in Jake's scroll. "He's close. Stay away." The sigh. Note's urgency suggests the kids sense danger, but from whom? The case grows cold, the swamp a vault of secrets. Marie lights candles nightly, her hope a fading ember, while Bayou Kane mourns. In 1996, a trapper, Leon Broussard, shatters the silence. Paddling through cypress roots, he finds Jake's backpack, its straps frayed, snagged in the swamp. Inside, a Polaroid photo freezes his blood. Ellie, eyes wide with terror, wrists bound with rope, a shack's wooden wall behind her. The photo's back reads, Help Us, in shaky ink, dated July 14th, 1988. Leon calls Guidry, now retired but tethered to the case. Guidry, 60, with a creaking knee, examines the backpack, its NASA sticker unmistakable. The shack's wood grain matches Claude's, but Claude vanished in '89, fled or dead, no one knows. Marie sees the photo, her scream raw, clutching Ellie's star-shaped bracelet. "They're alive," she whispers, hope a fragile spark. Guidry reopens the case, re-interviewing locals. Missy Heber, now graying, recalls Claude buying rope in '88, muttering, "Gotta keep things quiet." Her tip, buried in '88, fuels suspicion. Guidry searches Claude's rotting shack, finding a trapdoor to a crawl space. Inside, a star-shaped hair clip, Ellie's, lies in the dirt, its presence a silent scream. Did Claude take them? Or was the clip planted? As part 1 ends, Tommy LeBlanc, the fisherman, delivers a bombshell. In 1996, he saw a woman, mid-20s, with Ellie's freckles near the swamp, holding a Polaroid camera. She dropped a napkin scrawled with Jake and fled into the reeds, her eyes haunted. Guidry's heart races. Is Ellie alive, carrying Jake's memory, or is the Bayou weaving a cruel lie? The swamp's secrets ripple, beckoning us deeper. Shadows in the Bayou. A woman flees through the swamp, a napkin with Jake in her wake. Is she Ellie, alive after 8 years, or a ghost of the Bayou's cruel secrets? In 1996, Bayou Cane, Louisiana, stirs with whispers of a mystery reborn. The 1988 disappearance of cousins Jake Landry, 13, and Ellie Dubois, 11, during a bike ride left Terrebonne Parish scarred, their bikes abandoned in the swamp's grip. Jake's red Schwinn, its NASA sticker glinting, and Ellie's with pink. Streamers lay silent, alongside a waterlogged sneaker and a missing Polaroid camera. 8 years later, a trapper's find, Jake's backpack with a Polaroid of Ellie, wrists bound, the words "Help Us" scrawled, cracked the case open. Sheriff Amos Guidry, now 60, retired but haunted, feels the swamp's pull. The photo, dated July 14, 1988, and a star-shaped hair clip found in Claude Gator Thibodeau's shack point to the recluse, but Claude vanished in '89. A fisherman's 1996 sighting of a woman, mid-20s, with Ellie's freckles, clutching a Polaroid camera, drops a bombshell, a napkin with Jake in shaky ink. Guidry, his knee creaking, knows the Bayou hides more than gators, and he's determined to uncover its truth for Marie Landry, Jake's mom, whose hope flickers like a candle in the wind. Guidry starts with Tommy LeBlanc, the fisherman who saw the woman near the swamp. Tommy, a wiry Cajun with a sun-creased face, sits at Boudreaux's diner, nursing coffee. "She looked scared," he says, voice low. Freckles like Ellie's, maybe 25, holding a camera like it was her lifeline. The napkin, smudged with swamp water, carries a faint gasoline scent, like Claude's airboat. Guidry sends it to forensics, but 1996 tech yields no prints, only a match to the Help Us photo's ink. Childlike, desperate. Tommy points Guidry to the sighting spot, a cypress grove where reeds choke the bank. Guidry combs it, finding a broken bracelet, silver, with a star charm like Ellie's, half buried in mud. The bracelet's clasp is bent, as if torn off in a struggle. Guidry's pulse quickens. Is this Ellie, alive and running, or a taunt from her captor? Marie, graying at 43, visits Guidry at the sheriff's office, her hands trembling as she holds Jake's baseball cap. "Is it her?" she whispers, eyes locked on the napkin's Jake. Guidry shares the bracelet, and Marie's breath catches. It's Ellie's, a gift from Claire, Ellie's mom. Marie pulls out Jake's diary, found in her attic, its pages yellowed. A July 12th, 1988, entry reads, "Gators watching us at the fort. Ellie's scared. Told Dad he don't care." Another, July 13th, adds, "Saw a black truck too. Guy looked mean." The fort, A stick and tarp hideout near the Atai. Swamp yielded a whistle and a note. He's close. Stay away. In part 1. Guidry revisits it, guided by Marie's memory of the kids' laughter there. Beneath a rotted log, he finds a buried tin box, rusted shut. Inside, a child's journal, Ellie's with star stickers, details there. Rides. July 14th. Jake says we gotta hide. Gator's boat was close. A final page, torn, reads, he took Jake first. Guidry's stomach lurches. Ellie saw Jake's abduction, but who was he? The journal's ink matches the photo's "Help Us," tying it to 1988. Guidry digs into Claude's past, visiting the parish clerk's office. Records show Claude's 1980 poaching arrest, dropped after Remy Fontenot, a shrimper feuding with Jake's dad, Paul Landry, vouched for him. Remy's threat, "Keep your kid off my turf," echoes in Guidry's mind. He drives to Remy's dock, where airboats hum, their gasoline stink sharp. Remy, 55, gutting fish, eyes Guidry warily. Claude was a loner, he says, his knife, pausing. Kept weird stuff in his boat, ropes, tarps. Guidry notices Remy's airboat, its hull scratched, and a coil of rope like the photo's bindings. Remy claims he was shrimping in '88, but his hands shake. Guidry recalls Paul's bar fight with Silas Fontenot, Remy's brother, a drifter with a black pickup seen near the kids. Silas, missing since '89, worked with Claude, per old dock logs. Did Remy's feud spill onto Jake and Ellie? A new witness emerges. Clara Boudreau, a 1988 school bus driver, now 62, living in a shotgun house festooned with Mardi Gras beads. Clara, sipping sweet tea, recalls seeing Jake and Ellie biking on July 14th, followed by a black pickup. It slowed near him, she says, voice trembling. Driver had a scar, like Claude's, but bigger guy, maybe Silas. Guidry pulls. Silas's 1987 mugshot, burly, scarred, eyes cold. Clara nods. That's him. Vehicle records confirm Silas's black pickup, license plate starting LAF, matching a blurry Polaroid from Ellie's room showing the fort with a truck in the background. The photo, overlooked in '88, ties Silas to the scene. Guidry's theory hardens. Claude and Silas, linked to Remy, targeted the kids, possibly over Paul's feud. Guidry searches the swamp for Silas's trail, guided by Tommy's directions. Near the cypress grove, he finds an abandoned airboat. Its hull rusted, hidden in reeds. Inside, under a tarp, lies Ellie's Polaroid camera, its star sticker unmistakable. The film is gone, but a scratched lens suggests rough handling. Forensics finds a partial print, too smudged for 1996 tech, but the camera's presence screams foul play. Guidry revisits Claude's shack, now a rotting husk, noticing a charred patch nearby, missed in '88. Digging, he uncovers burned fabric, blue denim, like Jake's jeans, with a button engraved JL. The fabric's edges are crisp, as if torched to erase evidence. Was Jake here, or is this a red herring? Marie shares a memory. Ellie's Polaroids, pinned to her bedroom wall, captured their fort, the swamp, even strangers. Guidry re-examines Ellie's old photos, finding one dated July 10, 1988. Claude's airboat docked near the fort, with a figure, Silas, in the shadows. The photo's angle suggests Ellie snapped it secretly, her courage a quiet defiance. Guidry's heart aches. Did her camera seal their fate? He interviews Paul again, who admits Silas threatened him in '88. Your kid's too nosy, Landry. Paul, drunk at the time, shrugged it off, a regret now carved into his face. A tip from Missy Hebbert, the gas station clerk, adds fuel. In '89, she saw Silas at her store, buying gasoline and a tarp with a scared girl in his truck, maybe. 12, resembling Ellie. I didn't speak up, Missy confesses, eyes down. Feared trouble. Guidry's blood boils. Ellie may have been alive in '89, captive. He checks missing persons files, finding a 1987 case. A girl, Lila Benoit, 10, vanished near the swamp. Lila's case, cold, mentions Claude's airboat nearby, per a witness. Did Claude and Silas prey on kids before? Guidry searches the swamp's edge following the burned patch's trail. Near a cypress stump, he finds a buried leather pouch, its stitches frayed. Inside, a child's ring, Ellie's with a star engraving, lies beside a note in Jake's hand. Ellie's gone. I'm next. The note's ink, faded, matches the journals, dated July 15th, 1988. Jake's words scream survival, but his fate twists Guidry's gut. Marie, shown the ring, collapses, her hope fraying. Find her, she begs, clutching Claire's hand, their sisterhood a lifeline. As part 2 ends, a hunter, Leon Broussard, stumbles into the sheriff's office, his face ashen. In the swamp near Claude's burned patch, he found a child's bone, a rope fragment tied to it, and a star-shaped hair clip like Ellie's. Guidry's world tilts. Is this Ellie, Jake, or another victim of the Bayou's hunger? The bone's test looms, and the swamp's shadows tighten their grip, pulling us toward a heart-stopping truth. The bones whisper a child's bone lies in the swamp, a rope around its silent cry. Whose story does it tell, and what secrets does the Bayou still guard? In 1996, the swamps of Bayou, Louisiana, pulse with a mystery that refuses to die. 8 years ago, on July 14, 1988, cousins Jake Landry, 13, and Ellie Dubois, 11, vanished during a bike ride in Terrebonne Parish, their laughter swallowed by the Bayou. Jake's red Schwinn and Ellie's bike with pink streamers were found abandoned, alongside a sneaker, a whistle, and a note warning, "He's close." In 1996, a trapper uncovered Jake's backpack, its NASA sticker unmistakable, holding a Polaroid of Ellie, wrists bound, eyes terrified, with "Help us" scrawled. Sheriff Amos Guidry, 60, retired but tethered to the case, unearthed more. Ellie's star-shaped hair clip in Claude Gator Thibodeau's shack, her journal claiming he took Jake first, and her Polaroid camera in an abandoned airboat. Burned denim with Jake's button, and a 1996 sighting of a freckled woman dropping a napkin with Jake deepened the enigma. Now, a hunter's find, a child's bone with a rope, and another star-shaped hair clip, threatens to unravel Bayou. Kane's fragile hope. Guidry, his knee aching, stands at the swamp's edge, knowing Marie Landry, Jake's mom, and Claire Dubois, Ellie's mom, cling to a fading dream of reunion. Guidry sends the bone to the state lab in Baton Rouge, urging haste despite 1996's slow forensics. The rope, coarse like the photo's bindings, and the hair clip, identical to Ellie's, twist his gut. Is this Ellie, Jake, or another child lost to the Bayou? While awaiting results, he revisits the hunter, Leon Broussard, at his cabin, where gator hides hang like grim trophies. Leon, 45, with a Cajun drawl, recounts stumbling on the bone near Claude's burned patch, where Guidry found Jake's denim. Water was low, Leon says, eyes distant. Saw something white, thought. It was shell, then that clip glinted. Leon mentions a 1988 rumor. Claude's airboat was seen near the spot where another child, Lila Benoit, vanished in 1987. Guidry's pulse quickens. Claude, the recluse who fled in '89, may have a darker history. At the sheriff's office, Guidry pulls Lila Benoit's file. Lila, 10, disappeared in July 1987 near Bayou Cane's swamp. Her bike found in reeds, no trace since. A witness, a trapper, saw Claude's airboat nearby, but no evidence stuck. Lila's mum, Evangeline Benoit, now 50, lives in Houma, her home a shrine of Lila's photos. Guidry visits, finding Evangeline frail, clutching a rosary. Claude knew something, she whispers. He stared at Lila once, at the Crawfish Festival, made her cry. Evangeline shares a 1987 Polaroid. Lila at the festival, Claude in the background, his scarred face unmistakable. The photo, chillingly familiar, mirrors Ellie's 1988 shot of Claude's airboat. Guidry's theory grows. Claude, and perhaps Silas Fontenot, Remy's brother, targeted kids before Jake and Ellie. The lab calls the bone is a child's femur, female, aged 9-11, from the late 1980s. DNA limited in 96 matches Lila Benoit, not Ellie or Jake. The rope's fibers match those in Claude's shack, and the hair clip, though similar to Ellie's, has a tiny crack, suggesting it's Lila's. Guidry's relief, Ellie and Jake may still be alive, mixes with horror. Claude's crimes stretch back years. He re-interviews Marie and Claire at St. Anne's Church, where candles flicker for the kids. Marie, 43, graying, grips Jake's cap, while Claire, 40, twists Ellie's bracelet. "Lila's gone, but not my Ellie," Claire says, voice fierce. Guidry shares the bone's findings, sparking hope but dread. Ellie's hair clip in Claude's shack suggests she was there, alive or not. A new witness contacts Guidry. Ruby Trahan, a barmaid at Cajun Joe's in 1989, now 55, living in a trailer with wind chimes. Ruby, chain-smoking, recalls a night in August '89. Silas Fontenot, drunk, entered with a girl, 12-ish, freckled, eyes downcast. "Looked like Ellie, scared stiff," Ruby says. Silas called her kid, kept her close. Ruby didn't. Report it, fearing Silas's temper, but saw him drive off in his black pickup, license plate starting LF. Guidry's blood runs cold. Ellie may have been alive a year after vanishing captive. Ruby adds a detail. Silas carried a tarp, like the one Missy Hebert saw him buy in '89. Guidry checks Silas's record. A 1988 assault charge, dropped, and dock logs tying him to Claude's trapping routes. Silas, missing since '89, becomes a ghost haunting the case. Guidry returns to the swamp, targeting Claude's burned patch. Near the bone site, he finds a rusted metal box, half buried in muck. Inside, a second journal, Jake's, its pages brittle, marked with NASA stickers. Entries from July 1988 detail their abduction. July 14th. Black truck followed us. Gators. Boat came close. Ellie screamed. A later page, July 15th, reads, "They took us to a shack. Ellie's tied up. I hear boats at night." Jake's final entry, smudged, says, "Gator says we know too much. Silas hit me." The journal's ink matches Ellie's "Help Us" photo, confirming they were held together. Guidry's heart sinks. Jake fought to protect Ellie, but his fate darkens with every clue. Marie shares a memory. Jake loved writing stories, hiding them in tin cans. Guidry searches the fort again, finding another can with a 1988 Polaroid. Jake and Ellie at the fort, a black pickup in the distance. The plate, clearer than Ellie's earlier photo, reads LAF 392, Silas's truck. The photo's back has a child's scrawl. "Tell Mom." Guidry's anger flares. The kids knew danger, but no one listened. He re-interviews Paul Landry, now sober, at his shrimp boat. Paul admits Silas threatened Jake in '88. "Nosy kid, poking round my boat." Paul, ashamed, ignored it, thinking Jake exaggerated. Guidry uncovers dock records. Remy paid Silas in '88 for odd jobs, including trips with Claude. Was Remy's feud with Paul a motive to harm the kids? Guidry visits Remy Fontenot, finding him at a crawfish boil, his laugh grating. Remy, 55, denies knowing Silas's whereabouts, but his eyes flicker at Claude's name. "Gator was trouble," he says, tossing shells. "Always sneaking around." Guidry notices Remy's airboat, its tarp stained with oil, like the gasoline scent on the napkin. He presses Remy about Silas's payments, but Remy shrugs. Family helps family. Guidry's suspicion hardens. Remy may have bankrolled Silas and Claude, targeting Jake to hurt Paul. A tip from Father Benoit at St. Anne's adds a twist. In 1988, a parishioner confessed hearing a child's cry near the swamp, near Claude's shack, but feared speaking up. The parishioner, now deceased, described a black pickup parked nearby. Guidry searches the swamp's edge, finding a burned-out campfire, missed in '88. Among the ashes, A child's shoelace, white, like Ellie's sneaker, lies with a melted star charm. The charm's presence, so close to Claude's shack, suggests Ellie was there, perhaps alive. Guidry's hope battles dread. Did she escape, or was she silenced? As Part 3 ends, a letter arrives at the sheriff's office, postmarked 1996, no return address. Inside, a single page in shaky ink reads, "I'm still here. Find me. J.D." A star-shaped sticker, like Ellie's, is pressed to the paper. Guidry's breath catches. Is this Jake, alive at 21, or Ellie, using Jake's initials? Marie, shown the letter, weeps, clutching Claire. "It's them," she says, voice breaking. The swamp's whisper grows louder, its secrets teetering on the edge of revelation, pulling us toward a truth that could shatter Bayou Cane. The Bayou's ghost's a letter signed J.D. whispers from the swamp, promising life. But whose hand wrote it, and what horrors still lurk in the Bayou's shadows? In 1996, Bayou Cane, Louisiana, trembles under the weight of a mystery that spans 8 years. On July 14, 1988, cousins Jake Landry, 13, and Ellie Dubois, 11, vanished during a bike ride in Terrebonne Parish. Their bikes, Jake's red Schwinn with a NASA sticker, Ellie's with pink streamers, left abandoned in the swamp's grip. Clues piled up, a sneaker, a whistle, a note warning he's close, and in 1996, Jake's backpack with a Polaroid of Ellie, wrists bound, pleading, "Help us." Sheriff Amos Guidry, 60, retired but relentless, uncovered Ellie's journal. He took Jake first, her Polaroid camera, and burned denim with Jake's button. A child's bone, tied with rope, belonged to Lila Benoit, a 1987 victim, linking recluse Claude, Gator Thibodeau, and Silas Fontenot, Remy Fontenot's brother, to a string of crimes. A 1989 sighting of a girl like Ellie and Jake's second. Journal detailing their abduction-fueled hope, but a 1996 letter signed J.D. with a star sticker, reading, "I'm still here," shakes Guidry to his core. Is Jake or Ellie alive, reaching out, or is the swamp playing a cruel game? Guidry, his knee creaking, dives deeper, knowing Marie Landry and Claire Dubois cling to fragile hope. Guidry starts with the letter, postmarked from Houma, 1996, its ink shaky, the star sticker a haunting echo of Ellie's. Forensics, limited. In 96, finds no prints, but the paper smells faintly of gasoline, like the napkin with Jake from Tommy LeBlanc's sighting. Guidry visits the Houma post office, questioning clerk Josie Melançon, 50, with a Cajun lilt. Josie recalls a man, mid-20s, lanky, with sun-bleached hair, mailing a letter days ago. Looked nervous, she says, kept looking over his shoulder. Josie's description, blue eyes, a scar on his cheek, matches Jake's 1988 photo, aged up. Guidry's heart races. Is Jake, now 21, alive in Bayou Cane? He circulates the description to deputies, urging discretion to avoid spooking the man. A tip comes from Cajun Joe's bar. A drifter, called Jay, matching Josie's description, was seen drinking there in 1996. Guidry meets the barmaid, Ruby Trahan, who saw Silas with a girl like Ellie in 89. Ruby, 55, chain-smoking, nods at Jay's photo, a sketch based on Josie's account. "That's him," she says. "Quiet, paid in cash, left quick when I asked his name." Ruby overheard Jay muttering about the swamp and owing her. Guidry tracks Jay to a flophouse in Houma, but the room's empty, save for a crumpled receipt for gasoline and a star-shaped keychain, like Ellie's charms. The keychain's presence chills Guidry. Jake, or someone posing as him, is circling the case. Guidry re-interviews Marie and Claire at Boudreaux's diner, where locals whisper about the letter. Marie, 43, her hands trembling, clutches Jake's cap. "JD's my boy," she says, eyes fierce. Claire, 40, twists Ellie's bracelet, adding, "Or Ellie, using Jake's name to hide." Guidry shares the drifter's sighting, sparking tears. Marie pulls out a 1988 letter from Jake, written at summer camp, with a star sticker, identical to the 1996 letters. The sticker's rarity, from a local store closed in '89, suggests the writer knew the kids intimately. Guidry's hope battles doubt. Is this Jake, Ellie, or a taunt from their captor? He digs into Remy Fontenot's ties to Silas, visiting the parish bank. Records show Remy paid Silas $500 monthly in 1988-89, labeled dock work, but Silas's dock logs show minimal hours. Guidry confronts Remy at his dock, where airboats hum, their gasoline stinks sharp. Remy, 55, gutting fish, laughs off the payments. "Help my brother out," he says, his knife flashing. Guidry presses, sighting Silas's black pickup near the kids. Remy's smirk fades, his hands shaking. "Silas was trouble," he mutters. "Ran with Claude, not me." Guidry notices a tarp on Remy's airboat, stained with oil, like the gasoline-scented clues. He seizes Remy's financial records, finding a 1988 payment to Claude for supplies, dated July 13th, the day before the kids vanished. Remy's feud with Paul Landry, Jake's dad, takes a sinister shape. Was Jake targeted to settle a score? Guidry searches the swamp for Claude's trail, guided by Leon Broussard, the hunter who found Lila's bone. Leon points to a hidden path near Claude's shack, overgrown but passable. Deep in the bayou, Guidry finds a second shack, smaller, its boards warped. Inside, a rusted lockbox holds Polaroids, dozens, dated 1987-89, showing kids, some bound, including Lila Benoit and a girl with Ellie's freckles. One photo, dated July 15, 1988, shows Jake, bruised, eyes defiant, in a shack's corner. The back reads, "Too nosy," in Claude's scrawl, per a 1980 poaching report. Guidry's stomach lurches. Claude and Silas ran a predatory operation, and Jake and Ellie stumbled into it. A final Polaroid, undated, shows a swamp trail with a star-shaped marker, like Ellie's charms. Guidry marks the spot, a mile from the bone site. He revisits Paul Landry, now sober, at his shrimp boat. Paul, 45, admits Remy confronted him in '88 about Jake snooping near his dock. "Thought it was kid stuff," Paul says, voice breaking. Paul recalls Silas boasting about teaching kids a lesson with Claude. Guidry uncovers a 1988 police report. A trapper saw Silas's pickup near Claude's shack on July 14th, but the tip was dismissed. The report mentions a tarp in the truck, like Ruby's 1989 sighting. Guidry's theory solidifies. Silas and Claude abducted the kids, with Remy's money or motive in the shadows. A new witness, Tante Marie, a Cajun healer, calls Guidry. In 1990, she treated a girl, 13-ish, with freckles, brought by a man resembling Silas. She was quiet, scared, Tante says, 70, her hands gnarled. Had a star bracelet like Ellie's. The girl whispered Jake before Silas dragged her away. Tante's shack, near the swamp, was a mile from Claude's. Guidry searches the area, finding a buried tin can with a child's drawing. Ellie's, of a star with home scrawled. The drawing's ink matches Jake's journal, suggesting Ellie left signs of survival. Guidry follows the Polaroid star marker, finding a swamp clearing with a burned-out campfire. Among the ashes, a child's shoelace, white, like Ellie's. Sneaker lies with a melted star charm. The charm's presence, so close to Claude's second shack, screams Ellie's presence. Guidry's hope surges. Did she escape, leaving clues? He re-examines Ellie's 1988 Polaroids, finding one of the fort with a man, Claude, watching from the swamp. The photo's back reads, "He sees us," in Ellie's hand. Her courage, capturing her captor, breaks Guidry's heart. As part 4 ends, Tommy LeBlanc, the fisherman, rushes to Guidry's office, his face pale. Near the swamp, where he saw the freckled woman, he found a bloody scarf embroidered with a star, snagged on a cypress root. A note pinned to it in shaky ink reads, "Silas is back." Guidry's world spins. Is Ellie alive? Warning of Silas's return? Or is this a final cry from the Bayou's ghosts? The swamp's secrets close in, teetering on the edge of a shattering truth. The swamp's truth, a bloody scarf, screams warning, its star a cry from the past. Will the Bayou finally yield its captives, or bury its truth forever? In 1996, Bayou, Louisiana, stands on the edge of a truth 8 years in the making. On July 14, 1988, cousins Jake Landry, 13, and Ellie Dubois, 11, vanished during a bike ride in Terrebonne Parish. Their bikes, Jake's red Schwinn with a NASA sticker, Ellie's with pink streamers, abandoned in the swamp's silent grip. Clues mounted: a sneaker, a whistle, a note saying, "He's close." And, in 1996, Jake's backpack with a Polaroid of Ellie, bound, pleading, "Help us." Sheriff Amos Guidry, 60, retired but unyielding, unearthed Ellie's journal. He took Jake first, her Polaroid camera, and burned denim with Jake's button. A bone tied to Lila Benoit, a 1987 victim, linked recluse Claude Gator Thibodeau and Silas Fontenot to earlier crimes. A 1989 sighting of a girl like Ellie, Jake's journal detailing their abduction, and a 1996 letter signed, "JD, I'm still here," fueled hope. A hidden shack's Polaroids, and a bloody scarf embroidered with a star, pinned with "Silas is back," suggest Ellie's survival and danger. Guidry, his knee throbbing, feels the swamp's pulse, knowing Marie Landry, Jake's mom, and Claire Dubois, Ellie's mom, await closure in a town scarred by loss. Guidry starts with the scarf, found by fisherman Tommy LeBlanc near the swamp. The blood, fresh in 1996, is human, but 1996 forensics can't match it without a sample. The star embroidery matches Ellie's bracelet, and the note, "Silas is back," in shaky ink mirrors the JD letter. Guidry revisits the scarf's site, a cypress grove where Tommy saw the freckled woman. Among the reeds, he finds a star-shaped earring, like Ellie's, crusted with dried blood. The earring's presence screams Ellie's proximity, but the blood chills Guidry. Is she injured, running, or worse? He circulates her aged-up description, mid-20s, freckled, haunted eyes, to deputies, urging vigilance. A tip from Ruby Trahan. The barmaid who saw Silas with a girl in '89 points Guidry to a 1996 sighting. A man resembling Silas, 50-ish, scarred, was seen at a Houma gas station, buying rope and gasoline. Ruby, 55, chain-smoking, adds, "He looked hunted, kept checking." His truck. The truck, a rusted black pickup, matches Silas's 1988 plate, LAF 392. Guidry tracks the gas station's receipts, finding one signed S. Fontenot, dated days before the scarf's discovery. Silas, missing since '89, is alive, and Guidry's gut screams he's tied to the scarf's warning. Guidry re-interviews Marie and Claire at St. Anne's Church, where candles flicker for Jake and Ellie. Marie, 43, clutches Jake's cap, while Claire, 40, twists Ellie's bracelet. The scarf's star breaks them. Claire recognizes it as her sewing, a gift to Ellie in '87. "She's alive," Claire whispers, voice fierce. Guidry shares the earring and Silas's sighting, sparking dread. Marie pulls out a 1988 photo. Ellie wearing the earring's twin, a star dangling from her ear. The photo's back, in Ellie's hand, reads, "For Jake, always." Guidry's heart aches. Ellie's love for Jake endures, but her blood on the scarf darkens hope. He confronts Remy Fontenot, Silas's brother, at his dock, where airboats hum with gasoline. Remy, 55, gutting fish, denies knowing Silas's whereabouts. Guidry presents the bank records, $500 monthly to Silas in '88-'89, a payment to Claude on July 13, 1988. Remy's knife slips, nicking his hand. "Family business," he mutters, eyes darting. Guidry presses, citing the scarf's note. Remy's face hardens. "Silas is dead to me." But a deputy finds Remy's ledger, hidden in his boat, listing SF Cleanup 88, and CT Silence, 89. Guidry arrests Remy for questioning, his feud with Paul Landry, Jake's dad, a motive to harm the kids. Guidry follows Silas's trail using Ruby's tip. A trapper, Leon Broussard, reports seeing a black pickup near a swamp camp, a mile from Claude's second shack. Guidry raids the camp at dawn, finding a lean-to with a tarp, rope, and a rusted knife. Inside, a Polaroid, Ellie, mid-20s, freckled, eyes hollow, lies with a 1996 date. The back reads, "I'm sorry, Jake," in Ellie's hand. Guidry's breath catches. Ellie's alive, but guilt consumes her. A noise rustles the reeds, and Guidry glimpses a woman, freckled, bloodied arm, fleeing. He calls, "Ellie!" But she vanishes, leaving a star-shaped pendant, like her charms. Guidry tracks the pendant's trail, finding a cypress hollow where a woman huddles, 1920, freckled, clutching a Polaroid camera. It's Ellie, alive, her arm bandaged, eyes wild. "Silas," she whispers, trembling. "He's coming." Ellie recounts 1988. Silas's pickup followed them. Claude's airboat cornered them. They were taken to Claude's shack where Jake fought Silas, earning a beating. Jake hid notes, hoping for rescue, but Silas killed him in 89, dumping his body in the swamp. Ellie escaped in 90, hiding with a Cajun family, but Silas's return in 96 forced her to run, leaving clues, napkin, scarf letter to draw Guidry. The JD letter was hers, using Jake's initials to honor him. Guidry shelters Ellie at the sheriff's office, calling Marie and Claire. Their reunion, tears, embraces, shakes Bayou Cane, but Jake's loss carves a wound. Ellie shares a final Polaroid hidden in her camera. Jake, 1989, bruised but smiling, with "For Ellie" always scrawled. The photo's back holds a map, drawn by Jake, marking a swamp spot. Guidry searches it, finding Jake's remains, a skull, a NASA keychain, buried in muck. Forensics confirm Jake, 13 at death, killed by blunt trauma. Guidry's rage boils. Silas stole Jake's life. He tracks Silas using Ellie's tip, a swamp hideout near Lila Benoit's bone site. Deputies raid it, finding Silas, 50, scarred, with rope and a tarp. Silas resists, snarling. They saw too much. A scuffle ends with Silas shot, dying without confessing. His truck holds a lockbox, Polaroids of Lila, Jake, Ellie, and others, dated 1987-89, and Claude's journal, detailing their crimes. Claude, dead in 89 per a coroner's report, was Silas's partner, paid by Remy to silence kids who saw their poaching, or worse. Guidry interrogates Remy, who cracks. His feud with Paul drove him to pay Silas to scare Jake. But Silas and Claude went rogue, abducting the kids. Remy hid their tracks, fearing exposure. Guidry charges Remy with conspiracy, his dock empire crumbling. Marie and Claire, at Jake's memorial, scatter his NASA stickers in the swamp, Ellie by their side. Ellie, scarred but healing, vows to honor Jake, her Polaroids a testament to their bond. This ends. Guidry finds a final Polaroid in Silas's lockbox, undated Bayou Cane's Diner, 1988, with a man, not Claude or Silas, watching Jake and Ellie. The back reads, "They knew." Guidry's blood runs cold. A third predator, still free, haunts Bayou Cane's shadows, leaving a mystery that lingers beyond the swamp's bittersweet truth. Thanks for sticking with the story until the end. If you enjoyed it, give this a like and share if you haven't already, and subscribe for more.